Welcome. My name is Louis Manzella, and I am one of the SLDS trainers for the Georgia Department of Education. Today's session will be a data overview. During this session, teachers will learn where to find data that will help impact instruction for their classroom. This session will show ways that SLDS can be exported and saved to the teacher's desktop or laptop and used to help support TEKS Standard 10 communication. I hope that you have logged into your student information system and accessed SLDS. If you have not, please do so now. If you do not have access to a student information system at this moment, you can open a browser and type in the address that you see on the screen. And that address is goo.gl/OF as in Frank, the number 4, C, capital T, capital V. This will take you directly to the teacher dashboard that we will be using in this training. Later in this presentation, you will be asked to complete an electronic sign-in. This is also for those of you who are watching the recorded version. This will be your ticket out the door. We will use that contact information to send you a certificate of attendance. You can share that certificate with your administration if you need proof of attending. Again, this is a hands-on session. I'll show you how to do something, then pause for you to switch over to your live SLDS and do that task. When you have finished the task, switch back to the Go To Meeting screen. And as a starter, just to explain, we use a FERPA-compliant training site called Dundee School System. It is real data from a Georgia district, but we have changed the names to comply with FERPA. Across the top here, you see the banner bar. On the banner bar, I may have some applications that you do not have, but I'll explain those as I go. The SLDS tab, which you see on the upper left-hand side, will get you back to this home page if ever you get lost or you need to find a quick way back. This resource tab is one of the 2 ways to get resources, some of the 50,000 digital resources that are here in SLDS. The IEP here is Georgia Online IEP, which is free and optional for districts. So not every district uses this. I believe about 100 districts so far do use the Go IEP. Growth Model is next, and I'll show you where you can find a little bit of information about Growth Model. Learning Object Repository, LOR, is also optional for districts. This affords each district the opportunity to upload its own resources for use by teachers and district personnel. PD is the Professional Development tab. This contains FIP modules, Formative Instructional Practices, and Comprehensive Reading Solutions. GoFAR, Georgia Online Formative Assessment Repository. This is the assessment tool that is used to form assessments from grades 1 through 12. It has the constructed response questions from 3rd grade up and the constructed and the selected response questions for all grades. The gifted eligibility form here is also an optional tool. The complete form here is online. And then we have the logout button. I like to use the analogy for logout as if you're doing online banking. If you're doing online banking, do you log out or X out? I believe most people would say they log out, and that's exactly what you should do every time you finish using your data in SLDS. Please make sure you log out, hit that button to make sure that your data is kept safe and you are the only one that can view it. Okay. Now I'd like to draw your attention here to the far right-hand side of the page where I'm going to show you help and training. So find the help and training. It's small blue letters. You see that where I'm clicking on the right-hand side. Excuse me, it's on the right-hand side, upper right-hand side of the page. And I'm going to click into help and training. And there it is, help and training. On the left-hand side of help and training, you can see some resources that we have. Statewide longitudinal data system is what we'll be talking about today. That's the data portion. TRL, teacher resource link, that's the resources. Parent portal, recent updates. Georgia Student Growth Model information is here. Information on the online IEP and GoFar. On the right-hand side, we have a listing of training manuals, and these are all written by data folks, but written for teachers, and that they are pictures and arrows. Very easy, very user-friendly. And I want to draw your attention here to 5 steps or less. Okay, so now I'm going to give you a turn. I want you to switch over to your live SLDS, and I want you to click on that Help and Training tab on the far right-hand side. And once you have done that, I want you to scroll down to the 5 steps or less and click on using the back button, which is the first 5 step that you will see listed under SLDS. Read through those 5 steps and then browse through some others, and I'll tell you when it's time to switch back to GoToMeeting. So one more time, click your Help and Training button, Help and Training page, scroll down on the right-hand side to 5 steps or less, click on 5 steps, and open up using the back button, and then a couple others, and I'll let you know when it's time to switch back. Okay, it's now time to switch back to my GoToMeeting screen. You can X out of the top of your Help and Training page to get back to your home screen. And of course, the first thing that I would like to show you is the back button. Our back arrow, which you just read about, is right here on my screen. It is right above Drummond Middle School. Difficult to see on the home page because it's the same color as the background, but you'll notice when we move up a page, it turns a bright blue. And to get back one page, that is the button you want to hit. You never want to hit the browser back button in the upper left corner. That will generally take you right out of SLDS. Another way to get back is this Teacher Dashboard Quick Link, or as I mentioned earlier, if all else fails, hit your SLDS tab. Another feature of this page is this icon right here. It's actually a floppy disk icon, and it has a little drop-down arrow. What this allows you to do is to export any document that you see with the icon. It's on every data page. You can save that as a Word file, a PDF, or Excel, or any of these other applications when you want to save a page. And you always want to be sure to save these to your computer first before you print. Now what we'll do is talk about what you'll see on the left-hand side just underneath that, and that is the active schedule. The active schedule represents the students that you are now teaching. You can see that in my demo I have selected a 6th grade teacher of language arts. You see the different sections listed here. Any blue and underlined section, as you can see, is a hyperlink. When you click on that, you will get a list of student names, and that's something we'll do together very shortly. You also have what is called an inactive schedule, and inactive schedule will contain the data for any student that you have taught at some time during the school year but no longer teach. The way this works, when you get a new student into your school, once your school and district capture that GTID number and send that information to the state, the student's data comes into one of your class sections. And again, this is any student in the state of Georgia, anywhere in Georgia, in a public school or charter school. Additionally, here you have a 2015-16 listing. And what that does, it allows teachers who taught in the same building they were in the previous year to look at the data for the students they taught last year. FERPA allows you additional time to look at the student data for students you have served. So that is the 2015-16. On the right-hand side, across from the active schedule, we're looking at attendance. Notice the date for that attendance. It's 2015-2016. So what you have here in the attendance tracker is the attendance for the students you are currently teaching, but it's last year's attendance. You see all the color codings, and as you'll see, everything in SLDS is color-coded. The green indicates students with 0 absences, the gold 1 through 5, the orange 6 through 10, and 10 or greater is in the red. Holding your mouse or cursor over any of the data points on the attendance tracker will give you a drop-down box, let you know how many students are in each section. And as a teacher, you have the rights to click into anything on the classroom line, and doing so will give you a list of students in that group. I'll be scrolling down a bit, and underneath that, we will see Lexile scores, and teachers 4th grade through high school will see these. K through 3 does not have Lexile scores listed unless you are a 3rd grade teacher who has students who have been retained. And you can see, again, color-coded percentages of students who are in the red, which is below level, the green, which is at grade level, and the gold, which is above level. You see here also the ranges for those scores to the right. If you need additional information about these Lexiles, you can click on this icon, and that takes you to the Department of Ed page where it will give you a listing of Lexiles for all grade levels. Underneath that, you will see EOC or EOG scores, or if you teach 9th graders, you may see both. What these are the latest Milestones tests, again delineated by how students performed on those tests. Red indicating a level 1, which is a beginning student, or beginning learner, excuse me. The orange is developing, the green proficient, and the gold distinguished. Just like an attendance tracker, if you hold your mouse over any of the boxes, it'll give you a listing of how many students in each of those sections. And clicking on anything on the classroom line will give you a list of those students. This next item all teachers should have. It's course grades. Kindergarten may have course grades data for their students who attended a certified Georgia pre-K, but what this chart represents is report card grades for students you teach and the courses you teach them. Grades are listed by bands if they were numeric, and letters obviously if they were letter grades. And all the numbers are hyperlinked again, so clicking on any of the hyperlinks will give you a list of students that scored in that range. So For example, if I had 6 students in first grade and 80, 89, simply clicking on that will give me that list. The last thing on the bottom of the page is called the State Assessment Classroom Performance. And this icon for 4th grade teachers and up, will give a breakdown of how their students performed on the latest EOC or EOG assessments. That's here. K through 3 will not have any data to see for this right here. To the right of that, I do not have it on my screen, but if you are now using Star Reader or Star Math, you would have your local assessments listed here. We are working with other vendors now to try to have whatever local assessments districts may be using uploaded. And then next to that, if you are a teacher who has given GoFar testing online, your scores will be listed here in a box that says Georgia Online Formative Assessment Repository. I want to show you this feature now because I may not have the opportunity to do it a little bit later, but it's a search feature. And when we talk about the student profile page, which we will in just a few moments, I want you to see that the quickest way for you to get to a profile page is right here. If you only teach one grade level, and by the way, you can search by GTID if that's available. If not, you would select your grade level if you teach more than one. This teacher just teaches 6th graders. And when you hit please select, you would get a pop-up listing of all the students that you teach in that grade level. Clicking on that and then clicking go will get you that student profile page. I'm just mentioning that, and I will mention it again when it's a little bit more relevant. At this point, I am going to scroll back up the page, and we're going to click into a class section, and then I will give you the opportunity to further explore a class section. So again, the class sections are listed here, and one other feature here is new this year, where it allows you, if you want to look at your groupings period by period, you can do so. When you select a period and then click View Report, what it does, it changes all the data on this page just to reflect those students in that period. So again, you can select any of your periods, click View Report, and it will change the data. For demo purposes, for what we're doing today, I'm just going to click all and leave it where it is. So I'm going to click on my first language arts section. And what that does, it provides me with a list of names of students in that section and gives me some demographic information. Now when you click that, what you first see is an orange bar that tells you what you clicked on. And here again, language arts and my section number. This next item, these are not clickable points, but they are simply legends of all the tests in SLDS and how they are graded. So everything from the pre-K legend, the GKIDS assessment, the access test for ESOL students, and the EOG, EOC assessment. If ever you forget how those are graded, all the assessment legend right here. Just beneath that, we'll have our class rosters. And what you see is a child's name, and again, blue and underlined, so those are hyperlinks. You'll see the child's current grade level, their race, ethnicity, and then we'll see what groupings these children qualify for. And you'll see that they qualify when there is a Y in the box. So ELL, of course, English language learner. ED, economically disadvantaged. If they were gifted the previous school year, there'd be a Y in the box. If they were retained or met the qualifications for retention the previous school year, there'd be a Y in the box. SWD, student with disabilities, and days absent will give you the total number of days absent in the previous school year. So these are the listings of your subgroups. Okay. Now in the achievement column, you may see the latest EOC, EOG scores. The G-Kids assessment may be available here also for first through third graders, third grade teachers, excuse me, and kindergarten teachers who have students who attended the Certified Georgia Pre-K may see the Pre-K legend in here. The access test is also here. It's very interesting, and when you get to look at your page to see the variations in test scores of your students, it gives you an idea of why differentiation is so important. And here to the bottom, this is what an access test looks like. Okay, now it's your turn. I'd like you to switch over to your live SLDS, and I'd like you to click on one of your class sections and spend a few minutes exploring that class section and the student demographic data, including the number of absences your students accrued last year. I'll tell you when it is time to switch back to GoToMeeting. Now please switch back to GoToMeeting so you can see my screen. And what you're looking at is the student profile page. You will have an opportunity to explore that in just a few moments. But the student profile page has all the data that we have on any one particular student. Again, statewide, meaning any student in the state of Georgia, public or charter schools. Has all the data you need for SST, RTI, and IEPs. This can be used in an IEP meeting, parent-teacher conference, and I will explain more as we scroll down. Now this demographic page is a very special page because of some of the data here for this one particular student. But again, the student names have been changed. You can see that my name is here. My demographic information, if I were a student, is here. This is a third grade student, so we're looking at attendance from 2016, and when you see one date listed, that is the end of the school year. It means the 2015-16 year. So we see attendance for the past 3 years here. Scrolling down, you will see state assessments. Oh, excuse me. Yeah. After the attendance history, if you have a student 4th grade and above, you will see a Lexile history for that student, and again, 4th grade and higher. The blue-gray area that you may be looking at on your sheet, or that you may be looking at on your sheet when you go to your SLDS, is the stretch Lexile range, middle 50%. Beneath the Lexile history, as you can see on my page, state assessments. So I have spring access test, spring G-Kids. I have a pre-K assessment as well. And you can click into any of those and get down to the strand level, looking at strengths and weaknesses. Below that, teachers in middle through high school will see a student growth percentile listing. Now this is followed by an active schedule, and all the active schedule means is, or shows, is what you are teaching that child. And one of the most important pieces, and the reason that I'm using this particular student, and this again is real data but the names have changed, is the enrollment history. This will show you if a child has transferred, if a child has been retained, when a child has been diagnosed with for special education. And I just wanted to point this out to you, that you can learn an enormous amount about your students from this. This particular student, kindergarten, transfer, kindergarten, transfer, kindergarten, transfer, kindergarten, transfer, transfer, transfer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 transfers, kindergarten. And that can explain, of course, academics and behavior, and more transfers after. And this is an ESOL student as well, but just with a history of transfers. We have here the withdrawal reasons, the districts, the school, and the school year listed. And that is the enrollment history. And I suggest that you read that enrollment history for each of your students. Underneath that, we'll have an unofficial transcript. It's another way that we can see report card grades. If you remember, our course grades listing on our home page were hyperlinks. This gives you the number, the grade that the student received, either the letter grade or the number grade, going back several years. And again, the quickest way now to get to any child's page is through that search feature on the bottom. I do not have that search feature on this page. It's the one I showed you on the home page, and we can take a look at that again after you have practiced. What I did want to show you, however, is the fact that this teacher has saved this page as a Word document. And as a Word document, you are able to do such things as amend the page. This teacher added goals, 3 goals, and a signature page. I know that other teachers have created text boxes underneath here, taken this into a parent-teacher conference, typed notes and the signature line, printed it, had the parent sign, made a copy, the teacher had to sign. This is how you can manipulate the page as a Word file. You can add or delete information that you see fit for the particular meeting. And of course it gives you the whole history of the child. So this page, like I said, has previously been saved, and here again the floppy disk icon, which is not on this page, allows you to do that. And then this document can be saved and uploaded to your TEKS platform to help you support TEKS Standard 10, which is part of which is communication with parents. All right, now it's your turn. You'll switch over to your live SLDS, and from where you were on your demographic page, I want you to click on a student's name and spend a few minutes exploring the data that is available for that student. And I want you to particularly notice the enrollment history, look for the floppy disk icon, and also look for the search feature on the bottom. And I will let you know when it's time to go back to GoToMeeting. At this time, if you would go back, please, to your GoToMeeting, we will conclude our presentation with the electronic sign-in. And this is for everyone, even those watching the recorded version. Please open an internet browser and type in the address that you see here listed. Let me change my screen so that you can see what I am talking about. There we go. It again, GOO.GL/B, capital NRTX, capital E. And this is case sensitive, so please be careful what you're putting in. Again, GOO.GL/B, capital N, capital RTX E. This is actually your ticket out the door. So when entering your information, please be extra careful typing your email address, as we will use the contact information on this sign-in to send you a certificate of attendance. As I said earlier, you can share that certificate with your administration if you need proof of attending. If you are having a difficult time with the URL link, please email me directly and I will send you the complete URL. My information is right here, Louis Manzella, lmanzella @doe.k12.ga.us. For the SLDS training team, for any school or group that needs training, you can email us here, or if you have any particular questions, you can do that as well. Thank you for participating in this training session. I hope you found it beneficial. If you cannot attend a face-to-face training on our other training modules, please participate in some of our other webinar training sessions. At this time, I will stop the recording, and thank you for your attendance.